So, Charlie, do you accept the View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at ABC says that they might be linked to neo-Nazis. But look, what did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances.
Charlie Kirk just dropped a $100 million legal bomb on Sunny Hostin in The View. And it's already messier than your grandma's mystery casserole. What did he say? What kind of wild receipts is he bringing? And can Sunny even survive this? Verbal apocalypse? Buckle up, because this showdown's spiraling faster than a reality TV breakup, and the drama is just getting started. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's about to unfold.
I'm going to let this go because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it. And the reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers, maybe the audience of The View would think twice about all of their ideas. That's why they felt so compelled to try to smear our wonderful summit this last.
Charlie Kirk just shook the media world like a toddler on a sugar high, slapping The View, and especially Sunny Hostin, with a $100 million lawsuit that's got everyone reaching for the popcorn. Because let's be real, nothing says, business, like demanding $100 million from a daytime talk show. This isn't just a legal move, it's a full-blown financial flex, the kind that practically screams, I'm either seriously angry or I've been binge-watching. Way too much courtroom TV.
Kirk took issue with this depiction of his organization. Kirk maintains that Turning Point USA is not affiliated with anti-Semitism or white supremacists. In a strongly worded tweet, the 28-year-old stated, talking to lawyers, many think we have a strong case. You cannot smear minors as and get away with it. It impacts them for the rest of their life. Hashtag sue the View. That's when TPUSA went all in. The organization changed its profile pic on Twitter to hashtag sue the View, posted a number of tweets condemning The View and demanding an...
Let's break down this explosive showdown. No boring legal jargon required. Charlie Kirk, the human embodiment of a political firecracker, part activist, part instigator, and 100% headline magnet, has made a career out of stirring the pot. Meanwhile, The View, that daytime cocktail of drama, hot takes, and celebrity gossip, has always been a battlefield for ideological fireworks.
Nothing else to talk about. Maybe you should get the lawyer that worked on that Covington Catholic school case. What was that, a $200 million settlement? I think, Charlie, you could use the money, and your students definitely could too.
So what exactly lit the fuse on this $100 million legal firework? What did The View say that pushed Charlie Kirk from keyboard warrior to full-blown courtroom crusader? Spoiler alert, it wasn't small talk about the weather or who had the worst haircut in Hollywood. Nope, this was a Molotov cocktail of sharp accusations, fiery rhetoric, and a verbal takedown aimed straight at Kirk and his political baby, Turning Point USA. Picture this. The daytime TV convo heats up, the coffee gets cold, and suddenly, Sunny Hostin, never one to whisper when she can grandstand, allegedly unleashes some seriously scorching remarks. We're talking claims so bold, so loaded that PR reps probably started sweating through their suits. The gist? That Kirk and his organization weren't just a bunch of fired-up conservatives. They were being painted as agents of misinformation and political mayhem. Basically, the TV version of casting him as the cartoon villain in a real-life political soap opera. Now sure, in the arena of hot political takes, wild accusations fly faster than midnight Twitter fingers. But Kirk didn't just brush it off as daytime drama. According to the lawsuit, those comments didn't stay in the realm of opinion, they crossed into defamation territory. To Kirk, this wasn't just TV trash talk. It was a full-blown attack on his reputation, career, and the entire mission of Turning Point USA. Imagine getting accused, live on national television, of being the mastermind behind chaos and lies. That's not just reputation damage. That's 9-figure lawsuit territory. And Kirk, he's coming for every dollar.
We begin with a shocking apology just a short time ago from the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA. A war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced neo-Nazis who showed up outside.
At the heart of Charlie Kirk's $100 million lawsuit are allegations that Sunny Hostin and her fellow View co-hosts publicly accused him of shady tactics, manipulation, and peddling dangerous misinformation. These weren't just your run-of-the-mill TV jabs. These were loaded, reputation-shredding statements. And in the ruthless world of politics, your name is your net worth. According to Kirk's legal team, these remarks didn't just sting. They burned holes through the foundation of his reputation and professional alliances. Now, let's talk about that eye-watering $100 million price tag. That's not just a flex. It's a declaration of legal war. That's not yacht money. That's buy an island and staff it with lawyers' money. Why such a staggering figure? Because in defamation law, especially when the plaintiff is a public figure, the bar is sky high. It's not enough to say, they lied. You've got to prove the statements were false, harmful to reputation or business, made with actual malice, meaning the speaker either knew they were false or didn't care to check. That's a heavy legal lift, which is why so many celebrity and political defamation suits quietly disappear behind closed doors. Courts don't love these splashy cases, mostly because they drag on forever and rarely end with a clear winner. But Kirk isn't playing the quiet game. He's going loud, he's going big, and he's betting $100 million that The View went too far.
Points conference, were in the front of out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and the I think it's important that every single person that attended that turning point, every Republican speak up against the against the flag.
And here's the real twist. Most lawsuits like this, they don't end in some explosive courtroom finale with tearful witnesses and gavel-slamming judges. No, the legal arena is less law and order and more a chess match in slow motion. Negotiations, settlements, strategic silence. Sometimes, someone issues a carefully crafted apology that sounds more like it was written by a PR team than a person. But when you slap a $100 million price tag on a case, the game changes. The pressure skyrockets, and the spotlight gets blinding. Kirk's legal team clearly believes they're sitting on a case as solid as concrete, backed by research, precedent, and a message. Talk reckless, pay big. Their move isn't just about the money, it's about sending a message. Whether they're angling for a fat settlement or just warning media loudmouths to choose their words more carefully, the impact is the same. Step wrong, and you might. Lose more than your audience, you might lose your house. This lawsuit is a gut check for every media outlet, podcast host, and talk show panel. The line between bold commentary and actionable defamation, thinner than ever. One fiery take too far, and suddenly, you're not in a ratings war. You're in legal quicksand. Now, as the legal engines start revving and the paperwork piles up, the world watches. Will The View settle and spin it into a teachable moment? Will Kirk double down and go for the win in court? Or will this legal grenade fizzle out like so many headline-grabbing lawsuits before it?
On Monday, we talked about the fact that there were openly demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event. So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these.
One thing's crystal clear. This legal showdown isn't just a lawsuit. It's a full-blown media circus complete with flashing lights, political fireworks, and enough behind-the-scenes tension to fuel a week's worth of headlines. It's not just law. It's spectacle. A $100 million drama bomb wrapped in legalese, seasoned with ideological beef, and served with a spicy, wait, did they really say that? And here's the kicker. When Charlie Kirk dropped that legal hammer, you'd expect The View to come out swinging. Maybe a bold press release, a sassy legal rebuttal, something. But instead, crickets. Not a peep. No dramatic monologue, no passive-aggressive segment, no Instagram post with a lawyer-approved caption. Just silence. The kind of silence that doesn't feel strategic. It feels like someone just pulled the fire alarm and everyone's pretending not to smell the smoke. Meanwhile, the internet lost its mind. Twitter turned into a digital coliseum. Memes flew faster than fact checks. TikTokers were reenacting the drama like it was the People's Court, Celebrity Edition. Late-night hosts, they practically begged their writers to squeeze every last punchline out of the saga. Some called it daytime defamation with a Hollywood budget. Others just laughed and dubbed it the most expensive episode of The View ever produced. Whatever happens next, one thing's certain, this isn't just courtroom business. It's cultural theater. And the audience, locked in, popcorn in hand.
Welcome back. In Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me, and it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, the state...
The weekend, Turning Point USA hosted a riveting event in Tampa, Florida called the Student Action Summit. Outside of the event were individuals waving flags and engaged in other activities. Well, on Monday's show, members of The View made a few comments about it.
The conservative group Turning Point USA has condemned the group of neo-Nazis and said they have nothing to do with the organization.
Yeah, but where was DeSantis is what I want to know.
But you let them in. You let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are complicit.
But let's take a step back and ask the real question. Why does this even matter? Why is this more than just another headline-grabbing, media-fueled legal slugfest? Because this lawsuit isn't just about what Sunny Hostin said or what Charlie Kirk believes. It's a mirror held up to the current state of our culture. A culture where political beefs don't just stay on TV, they detonate in courtrooms, where opinion, outrage, and strategy collide in a spectacle so loud, it drowns out nuance entirely. This case is less about a single insult and more about the blistering pressure cooker we all live in. A world where free speech is sacred until it steps on the wrong toes, where public discourse feels like a battleground, and where the fastest way to win an argument is to slap it with a lawsuit and let the internet choose sides. And here's the darkly hilarious twist. Lawsuits like this don't just settle scores, they freeze conversations. When a sharp comment on a talk show can turn into a $100 million courtroom nightmare, it doesn't just scare the guilty, it silences everyone. Suddenly, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being quiet enough to avoid being sued. And in a world where drama pawned engagement, there's a perverse incentive to crank up the volume instead of turning down the heat. So, what is this, really? Is Charlie Kirk's legal cannonball a noble defense of reputation, a bold stand against defamation, or just theatrical lawfare, another political chess move in a never-ending culture war? You decide. But either way, the message is clear. In today's media landscape, every word is a weapon, and every conversation might come with a price tag. Chani Kuritor
disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him, and you have and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever.
One thing's crystal clear. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's a full-blown cultural spectacle, dragging political division and media warfare center stage with all the grace of a rock concert in a monastery. And if you so much as blink, you might miss the next twist in this escalating legal soap opera. So what exactly lit the fuse on this $100 million legal firestorm? According to Charlie Kirk, it was a few too many hot takes from The View. The kind of pointed commentary that, in his eyes, didn't just ruffle feathers, it torched his reputation. We're not talking harmless opinion here. Kirk says the remarks aired crossed the invisible but legally enforceable line between edgy commentary and outright defamation. Now, for those unfamiliar with legal lingo, defamation basically means you dragged my name through the mud, and now I'm coming for your wallet. And when that wallet grab is to the tune of $100 million, it sends a loud, lawsuit-shaped message. This isn't just about public image, it's legal war. But wait, it gets spicier. Kirk's legal team isn't just filing a complaint, they're delivering what reads like a Hollywood drama. Claims of reckless disregard for the truth, accusations of character assassination, and the classic, you turned my client into a public punching bag narrative. This isn't about spilled tea, it's about flipping the whole table. And make no mistake, the goal here isn't just reputation rehab. This is a strategic move, a calculated strike meant to challenge what media figures can and can't say on live television without staring down the barrel of a 9-figure lawsuit. It's the latest chapter in a culture war where every word is ammo and every show could be subpoenaed.
Chiefmans, how do you like the so-called uneducated now, Sonny?
Yeah, and again, by the way, rarely do you get the answer to a question in the question. And her whole question is exactly why there was a rebellion against them.
Yes.
Listen, just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. I always differentiate between knowledge and wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach. I mean, or about North African lesbian poetry. Okay, that's fine.
Naturally, lawsuits like this rarely explode into the kind of dramatic courtroom face-off you'd expect from an episode of Law & Order. More often than not, they simmer quietly behind closed doors, ending in settlements or quiet dismissals. But with $100 million and a tidal wave of media attention on the line, this case feels less like a legal formality and more like a high-stakes poker game, where everyone's bluffing, no one wants to fold, and the pot just keeps getting bigger. Meanwhile, the public reaction? Absolutely feral. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree on Red Bull. Shock, schadenfreude, and did that just happen? Moments flooded every platform. Meme makers went into overdrive, pundits pounced, and late-night hosts? Let's just say they didn't. Need to write new jokes for the week. The headlines did it for them, but beyond the internet chaos, this isn't just another squabble over bruised egos or soundbite slander. It's a snapshot of a culture tearing at its own seams. On one side, you've got the free speech absolutists treating media platforms like verbal battlegrounds with no rules. On the other, defenders of accountability who argue that when reputations and potentially livelihoods are at stake, there have to be limits. This lawsuit, it's more than just a legal dispute. It's the perfect storm of cancel culture, political spectacle, and media frenzy, a twisted reflection of the moment we're living in, where outrage is currency, truth is subjective, and everyone's playing defense with one eye on the trending tab.
I'll say is Sonny, you guys thought that abortion was going to be this like quasi-zealot religious issue? I'm pro-life. If people in the audience aren't, that's fine. What I'm saying though, what gives me promise, and I think we can all agree on this, is that there are other issues that should animate and drive our politics other than this very divisive one. And I was really encouraged by that, Megan. Very encouraged, because the media was forcing this as an up or down vote on a referendum on a highly complicated, very emotional, very personal issue. And it turned out the American people were like, yeah, actually, these other 6 things matter.
So, what's next? Will this lawsuit collapse under the weight of its own hype? Will Kirk walk away victorious, waving a giant check and breaking into a victory dance? Or will this just become another headline that fades into the background? ATV, cautionary tale about mixing politics, lawsuits, and daytime TV drama? Whatever happens, one thing's clear. This story is far from over. Keep your eyes peeled, because when $100 million is on the line, you're in for a saga packed with more twists, turns, and jaw-dropping headlines than your favorite soap opera. And hey, if nothing else, it's a reminder that sometimes the biggest battles aren't fought in the streets or Congress. They're fought with the loudest legal tantrums on daytime TV 4-1 Mini.